All right, this idea just hit me. I'm spending a lot of time on Star Wars Facebook groups and going back and forth with a lot of fans who have a lot of different opinions, thoughts, questions, and unfortunately, extreme over the top criticisms. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about one thing, guys. I'm going to try to make this video thorough but quick. Okay, the biggest complaint that I see from Star Wars fans who like to criticize this movie, who have found a lot to nitpick with this movie. The biggest criticism I've seen and heard by far, nothing's even close, is that these last three movies, that is The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker, have ruined or at least messed up the three original movies, A New Hope, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi. And they've messed those movies up because they've taken away or they've changed, they've altered the prophecy that we learned about in the prequel movies. Okay? We learned about the prophecy that there would be one Jedi that would rise up and balance the Force. Okay? Everybody assumes, or maybe it was stated in this prophecy, because I don't know it by heart, guys, I'm sorry, I just don't, that this great Jedi would destroy the Sith. I believe the prophecy simply was there would be a Jedi that would bring balance to the Force. Now, balance to the Force, I don't even want to get into that, but it's generally eliminating the dark Jedi, the evil Jedi, the dark side, the Sith, essentially. Because when they're eliminated and only good exists, there's balance. It's not, it's not spiked toward the evil side at all. That's a quick summary of what balancing the Force is. There's much better videos out there with long explanations as to what balancing the Force means, so you can Google them. I got a lot of channel links. If you go to my channels here on my page, you can see the people that I follow, and there are definitely some good sources for more material. But I'm going to address this Anakin being the chosen one, Anakin fulfilling the prophecy being ruined by the Rise of Skywalker, and Rey taking out Palpatine again, who was supposed to be dead. My argument to that, my answer to that, guys, is simple. It doesn't change the prophecy at all. Why can't a prophecy, when written, mean all 9 films? Now, of course, in that world, they're not seen as films, but I mean in our eyes. Why can't this prophecy that Anakin would restore balance to the Force apply to all 9 movies? I know your question is going to be, how did Anakin restore? He didn't come back as a Force ghost and fight. He didn't come back in physical form and fight. No. Hear me out. Okay? At the end of Return of the Jedi, there is balance in the Force because he has killed Emperor Palpatine, and only Anakin could do that. Keep in mind, Palpatine, Darth Sidious, so powerful that nobody could stop him. Luke certainly couldn't stop him, not at that point in his Jedihood, if you will. So he had to rely on redeeming his father. Luke went to face Darth Vader, Anakin Skywalker, with his goal being redemption. His goal wasn't, I'm going to strike my father down, I'm going to kill him, I'm going to eliminate my father's existence in this galaxy. Now, Luke's goal was to redeem Anakin Skywalker because he knew that there was good in him, and he was correct. And upon that redemption, it was Anakin, Darth Vader, who took Palpatine and tossed him into the shaft and killed him. Yes, I believe he was dead. Now, Star Wars lore that all of you, especially you critics, are so fond of talking about, has discussed time and again Palpatine's goal, plan, hope, dream, vision, mission. Everything was immortality. And I know many of you hate the, quoting the saying where, the dark side leads to many things that are considered unnatural. I know, and I'm paraphrasing that, I know that. But a lot of you hate that quote, and you don't want to buy it. But look, it's still true. And what does that essentially mean? It means that while Qui-Gon Jinn discovered a way to return in form, he only discovered to come back in his voice, with his voice, as far as I understand it. Did Qui-Gon ever manifest himself? I don't know if he ever did, but he found a way to bring his voice back. And as he taught Yoda and Obi-Wan and others that, they then discovered how to manifest themselves physically using the Force. Okay? So, I digress. Anakin killed Palpatine. Palpatine came back manipulating, using the dark side, whatever that method is, of the Jedi's ability to manifest themselves in the Force. Sith can't do that. The evil dark side Force users can't do that. But Palpatine was so stinking powerful that he found some kind of way to come back in a physical form, but decrepit and more evil looking and needing the assistance of machinery and having to try to suck life forces out of others to continue to go on. So he used a dark side version of the Jedi's returning in ghost form. That's what he did. That's how he returned. I think there'll probably be more specifics about that once the book The Rise of Skywalker is released and we can actually read it in written form. I'm hoping anyway, and I want to believe there will be more details in regard to how Palpatine did that. But for an evil Sith Lord that has been wanting immortality for as long as we've known him, to find that he's done it, that he's discovered how to do it, should not be shocking. So again, going back to the prophecy writers, the ancient people, the ancient Jedi, whoever wrote this, right, knew that Anakin would kill Palpatine, knew that Palpatine would discover a way to return, and knew that it would take someone of his bloodline to take him out. Now, before you lose your mind and say, well, that means Rey fulfilled the prophecy. No, it does not. None of that could have been put into order until and unless Anakin killed Palpatine. Palpatine had no reason to try to bring a blood relative in to take his place so he could have her kill him and he could possess her body. If Anakin never killed Palpatine, he would never be pushed to such an extreme. Ever. He would never have to rely on a backup plan. He would never have to somehow get other Sith behind him in this same evil way and form that, yes, granted, I don't completely understand how that works. I am trusting that it is a manipulation, it is the dark side of the Force ghost. There seems to be a dark side and a light side to everything in the Star Wars universe. Everything. So since the Sith cannot come back in physical form, as a ghost anyway, that's not a physical form, as in ghost form, they find a way to come back in physical form, real touch the earth physical form, real I can fight you with a lightsaber or lightning form. But they are more evil than ever, they are more decrepit than ever, they are more messed up than ever. And again, they take machinery to keep them alive, and it seems like they would need to suck life force out of somebody to rejuvenate themselves even more. So it is a very decrepit, a very evil Force ghost way kind of thing that they have manipulated. So the prophecy writers knew that Anakin would fulfill the prophecy by taking the first step of killing Palpatine, causing him to return. Anakin would have to sacrifice himself to do this. It killed Anakin to kill Palpatine, and fully redeemed Anakin. So that was his reward. He was redeemed and allowed to enter the life force as a Force ghost. You know, he was allowed to do that. That is what it brought him. It allowed him to continue on in that way. It allowed his son to continue teaching and lead to, the prophecy writers would also know that Ben Solo would become Kylo Ren. And so they took Palpatine's granddaughter and made a Force dyad with her and Ben that led to the ultimate destruction of all the Sith. That, yes, you can credit Rey for, and that's why Anakin says, bring balance to the Force, Rey, like I once did. But Anakin started it all in the process. Anakin began the process that would destroy Palpatine and all of the Sith. He began that process. He fulfilled the prophecy. Even though it had to continue past his timeline, he began it. You take Anakin out of that, none of this happens. None of this happens without Anakin. Either Sidious continues to live on and on and on for eternity, or he has no reason to try to take a grandchild and convince her to kill him so he could possess her and be Empress Palpatine. He'd have no reason to do any of that. Somehow the course is altered in some way, but the prophecy knew that Anakin would set the wheels in motion. Yes, it's a little convoluted, guys. I don't think that means it's wrong. It's a little, you got to refocus. You got to stop and be like, let me think about this. Okay, could that possibly make any sense? Of course it makes sense. I do a lot of religious studies too, and there's a lot of prophecy in the Bible, and you've got to know how to interpret it. You can't just say, well, they killed Jesus on a cross, so much for that. No, and I don't mean to preach to you guys, just bear with me here. Christianity teaches us that Christ redeemed his people through his death. I see that in here a little bit, guys. Anakin redeemed his people through his death, although that wasn't the end. When Christ died on the cross, the world just didn't end and everything, and some people went to hell and some people went to heaven, it was over. Life continued for quite some time. Anakin completed the prophecy in regard to starting it. Anakin was the chosen one because without him, there'd be no Rey. Anakin fulfilled the prophecy, guys. He brought balance. Rey completed it. But she's not the chosen one because she was in addition to the man who began it. The man who the book opened up and said, here is the man, here is the Savior, who has come to redeem his people. And Rey is the second hand that comes in conclusion of Anakin fulfilling the prophecy. The book was opened and there stood Anakin. Rey is just part of Anakin's story. Without Anakin doing what he did, there'd be no Rey. The Emperor Sidious might still be alive. Yes, again, got to jump through some hoops. Got to do some mental gymnastics. But there's no reason that can't be true. That's what I choose to believe. And to me, it doesn't harm the story. It extends it. You could say there was no real need to extend this story to such lengths. And maybe there wasn't. But guys, it does not ruin the story. It just adds to it. Just gives us more Star Wars to love. And I know I love it. And I hope you join me in that love. May the Force be with you.